Okay, so today's topic is on job satisfaction and employee moral. I think this is a very important topic in HRM because we need to love our jobs, right? We need to do what we believe in. Right. One second, what happened to this? Ah. So we will be learning about what is job satisfaction, the importance of job satisfaction factors, measuring ways for improving morale, individual and group morale, factors affecting morale, and signs of high and low morale, measurement of employee morale, and how to improve morale. I think these are the basic what as a human, as an employee, that when we seek for job, what we require to really like our jobs, be in our jobs, and you know and how to have the morale as well, right? So in every organization, what is actually changing fast is the technology, the achievement. So what we need to continuously do is to evolve. We have to continuously satisfy ourselves and the organization. So the organization makes the continuous effects, the continuous efforts to ensure that they are achieving satisfaction to the employee. So job satisfaction can be seen within the broader context of the range of issues which affect an individual's experience of work or their quality of working life. Job satisfaction can be understood in terms of relationships with other key factors such as general well-being, stress at work, control at work, homework, interface, and working conditions. So basically, job satisfaction is, regarding the work, definitely, and regarding how we perceive the work, whether positively or negatively towards our career. So when we perceive the job satisfaction as a negative or positive in our career, we need to make it a point that how we feel towards it. If we feel negative about it, then the place that we are planning to survive is not going to go for a longer period of time, and we will constantly be dissatisfied, and the results will never be expected out of what the organization is wanting to have, right? So uh, the definition of it is, it job satisfaction includes multi-dimensional psychological responses to an individual's job, and that these person responses have cognitive, valuation, affective, and behavioral components. Let's understand what is the importance of job satisfaction. The importance is, first is lower turnover. Now, turnover can be one of the highest costs attributed to the human resource department. Retaining workers helps create a better environment and makes it easier to recruit quality talent and save money. So turnover is one thing that is very, very important. Only if you are happy with your work and you are able to retain your work, have a better environment at your work, so you will be able to have a talented people, the ones who are attributed to this particular department, they will be able to create a better environment, and they'll be able to save the money for the lesser cost of production, right? So this is first important, is lower turnover. The second is higher productivity. Irrespective of job title and pay grade, employees who report high job satisfaction tend to achieve higher productivity. So so you have lower turnover, and high productivity, increased profits, right? Loyalty and customer satisfaction. So you are able to expect these things in the job because these are the basic importance of interests where you think in the form of achievement, result, satisfaction, giving utmost loyalty. So this is what is the stronger urge to work better. Let's understand the factors influencing job satisfaction. What are those factors that is influencing job satisfaction? Individual factors, that is, In individual factors, you have level of education, age, personal and social factors, right? So what happens in how do you influence job satisfaction from the individual perspective, that is for ourselves? If these expectations which are based on our individuals, that is based on our education, our age, and the other factors. The first is the level of education. We feel the higher we are qualified, where we are qualified, apt for the role, the better satisfaction that we derive out of the job, right? So when we know that the degree of our education is lesser than others, then we are always remaining very unsatisfied at our jobs. Next is the age factor. Now, the age factor is job satisfaction is high at the initial stage, where you are rising up to a stage, and when an individual joins an organization, he has a very, very unrealistic assumptions about what he is doing to derive from his work. So these assumptions make him more satisfied. However, when these assumptions fall short of reality, job satisfaction goes down because of fear of retirement and fear of outcome, etc. So this is one aspect. When you join work, you are very enthusiastic, but then when you know that you have reached the end days of your career, and you know that you will be having to meet the outcomes every now and then. So you need to set yourselves an assumptions, a parameter on how you're planning to raise. So I think this is one. So education is, so you need to be aptly qualified for that particular work so that you're not feeling unsatisfied. Age is something that you have to start prior, so that you are able to achieve better outcomes. Personal and social factors is, if an individual does not have favorable social and family life, he may not feel happy even at work as well. Now let's understand the factors, which is considering the nature of job. So individual level, we need to have a good exposure in our personal life, level of education as well, and the age as well. So according to the nature of job, that is the job satisfaction, the occupation level is the occupation level, the job content, right? So the occupation level is higher level jobs provide more satisfaction as compared to lower levels. This happens because high-level jobs carry prestige and status in the society, which itself becomes source of satisfaction for the job holders. For example, professionals derive more satisfaction as compared to salaried people. Factory workers are least satisfied people. So occupation itself, it has a very, very important place because it is compared to every level, high level, low level. So when you know that you're a professional, so professional people are more satisfied than the ones who are only based on these salaried people, right? Salary, is one such factor where you are only working for monthly money. But then professional is something that you have aged yourself in a profession, and you will be better satisfied in that particular profession. Job content is what it refers to the intrinsic value of the job, which depends on the requirement of skills for performing it and the degree of responsibility and growth it offers. A routine and repetitive job provides lesser satisfaction. The degree of satisfaction progressively increases in job rotation, job enlargement, and job enrichment. So, job content is one such growth factor which helps you to increase the degree of responsibility so that it should not be repetitive. So, more, what happens is every day you go and you hit the monotony, right? Every day you do the same thing over and over again. That leads to dissatisfaction. And repetitive job leads to dissatisfaction. So, what is better is to ensure that in the organization they give you a good increase in job rotation, enlargement, and job enrichment. Then the third one is the situational variable. So you know your individual variables, the organizational point of view on in order to have job satisfaction, and then comes the situational variables. Situational variables are the group. Let's understand the first one, that is the work group. The work group is, that is, if the groups are very cohesive, meaning that in a cohesive group, people derive satisfaction out of their interpersonal interaction and workplace becomes satisfyingly leading to job satisfaction. So the first situation is, see, individual, you are seeing that you have to grow with your age, you have to grow as a profession, you have to grow as your personal skills and your education. According to the organization, you are seeing in the organization whether it is better job rotation, enlargement, and everything like that, right? Then is situation. Situation is what are these factors that will help you to move ahead with your satisfaction levels, which will help you to better understand the job, better understand your skills, your development, and your strategy as well, and keeping yourself very satisfied at work. Is first is the work group. Work group means the better interactions that you have at work, the better that you would love to work, right? Next is working conditions. Working conditions is if you are, what your basic conditions are at your workplace, depending upon your associated facilities. If you don't require, if people don't give you good facility at work, then you're all the time dissatisfied because you're not having a favorable experience with your working conditions, right? Next is supervision. When you are being supervised all the time, that emphasizing on your flaws, emphasizing on your work that might be a little lesser than other things. So that might not create a favorable condition. Next is the rewards. Now, if the reward is based on the job performance and equitable, it offers higher satisfaction. If the reward is perceived to be based on considerations other than the job performance, it affects job satisfaction adversely. Career advancement. It is true that individuals seek satisfaction in their jobs in the context of job nature and work environment, but they also attach importance to the opportunities to promotions that these jobs offer. So these are the conditions that will help us to move forward with our job satisfaction. So these are the most important, ABC situations or factors which is influencing our job. Next, that we move on to measuring our job satisfaction. Measuring job satisfaction means that it comprises of three components, that is evaluative, cognitive, and effective. What is evaluative? Evaluative is represents the assessment of feelings such as dislike versus like for the organization. Now, if you don't like the organization, no matter what would happen, how things would turn out to be, you're all the time dissatisfied. So you have to ensure that when you're measuring your satisfaction, it is all the time comprising of these three components. That is whether you really like the place that you're working. Next is you need to understand whether your beliefs and your expectations is aligning to your working conditions. And the third is you have to all the time keep taking feedback on what your self-worth is, or what are the negative effects that is, invalidating your situations. So these are the three components that you have that will help you to measure the job satisfaction. Now, there are two ways to measure job satisfaction as well, which are popularly used by the researchers. They are the single global rating and summation score. Single global rating, in this, only one question, such as, all things considered, how satisfied are you with the job? Summation score means employees' assessment of how satisfied or dissatisfied he or she is with his or her job is a complex summation of a number of discrete job elements. The typical elements considered are the nature of work, supervision, present day, promotion opportunities, and relations with co-workers. So you have single global rating, that is only you will be able to know whether you are being satisfied considering everything or not. Summation score is whether you are able to summarize all the elements put together that is offering you at your job, and you are able to summarize and understand what is giving you opportunities, or in terms of supervision, present day, and all that. So let's understand the typical summating score instruments. That is, the first is Minnesota Satisfaction Questionnaire, that is called as MSA. WIS England and Loftus developed this questionnaire in 1967. It is a widely used instrument to evaluate job satisfaction. This questionnaire consists of variables like working conditions, chance of advancement, freedom to use one's our judgment and praising for doing a good job. This can be used both in individual and group setting as well. So this means that in 1967 they had prepared this questionnaire called as the Minnesota Satisfaction Questionnaire, where this questionnaire consisted of so many things that we've just read: the working condition, freedom, judgment, praising for doing one's job. So this manner, it's easy for us to summarize the score depending upon these parameters. Now, job descriptive index that is originally developed by Smith, Kendall, and Hewlin with 72 items in this index. It assesses five facets of job satisfaction, which includes the work, pay, promotion, supervision, and co-workers. Job satisfaction survey as well. Now, after having a questionnaire and after having a job descriptive index, the next is the survey procedure, which was developed by Paul E. Spector to assess employee attitudes about the job and aspects of the job. The survey consists of a 36-item questionnaire that targets 9 separate facets of job satisfaction. The job facets includes pay, promotion, supervision, benefits, contingent reward, operating procedures, co-workers, nature of work, and communication as well. Next, we move on to job diagnostic survey. Now, Hatman and Oldham developed the survey which measures both overall and specific facets of job satisfaction. This is again very interesting. These are the 3 dimensions of overall job satisfaction, which includes general satisfaction, internal work motivation, and growth satisfaction, which are combined with a single measure. The facets which are measured on the survey include security, compensation, co-workers, and supervision. So these were the typical instruments that helps us to prepare questionnaires which are developed to measure job satisfaction. Now, these are the ways for improving job satisfaction for different employees. The first one is understand the expectations. Understand the expectations. So many of the employees feel stressed or frustrated as a result of their unrealistic expectations. Conduct surveys and interviews to know the expectations. Take steps to moderate their expectations when they are unrealistic. I think this is very, very important ways to improve job satisfaction for all of us, because we know that we are not setting ourselves the most unexpected, unrealistic expectations for ourselves, that all these things would magically happen with us, right? So we should all the time get reality checked, in perspective of stress and frustration and everything, because anything that you have unrealistic steps for yourself will never be able to have work diligently done, because you are expecting something which is never going to happen. So it is very, very important for us to take measures and realize that what is the end goal, what is the achievement factors, recognition factors, reward factors that we will get, rather than we having this larger than life perspective in our heads, in our minds, and then later be very dissatisfied, right? Next is measure engagement of employees frequently. Achieving employee engagement requires focus on job satisfaction. So measure job satisfaction periodically. Focus on long-term employee expectations and satisfaction are dynamic. They keep changing periodically. As such, an organization has to look at the short term to fulfill employee needs. However, some of the expectations like salary hike require long-term approach. So after understanding your expectations, you need to measure the engagement of employees frequently. Next is we need to focus on our long-term perspective. It is very easier to fulfill the short-term perspective, short-term goals, because it is only for today or tomorrow. But when you are aiming for a long-term approach, that means you are aiming for a higher goal. You're aiming for the most dynamic consequences, um, that you will be achieving in the organization. So an organization has to look for in the employee that who is in for a long term or who is in for a short term, right? So for the short term, you're never worried about the consequences, or you're never worried about what harm it could make, because you are just wanting momentary goals or momentary results. But long term perspective is requiring salary hike only because if you are loyal towards your job, you are periodically giving good results. So this is something which is on a higher end, and you need to all the time focus on long term goals. Empowerment of employees. Now, the employees should be given autonomy, freedom, and flexibility. This will give them a chance to demonstrate their capabilities. It helps build job satisfaction among employees as well. So, the empowerment of employees, you should always remember that when you're working in an organization, you should be able to get a sense of freedom to work, because you require that skills, you are talented, you are professional in that particular job. So people should be able to give you that freedom and that trust and that loyalty that you are able to get better results. So if you're micromanaging that work or trying to create a very rigid atmosphere on seeing things or checking on things, it will all the time we will all the time never be able to show the capabilities, and we are very dissatisfied with our jobs. Next, ways for improving job satisfaction of different employees is to create positive work environment. So motivating working environment can be created by going an extra mile in providing for the needs of the worker. Walt Disney World Company provides an excellent work environment by its initiatives. Employee assistance centers are spread strategically across the theme park. Some of the services include employee discount programs, childcare information, many orders, postage stamps, check cashing, and bus passes. So, this is a very systematic way of creating a positive work environment where people's job roles are not overlapping with each other. They're able to create categories for every job, and the employees services to be properly worked on in the in the companies, right? So these companies who are there in our economy for a very very long time, they would know every initiatives that they have to do it systematically, which actually works for every employee, right? So the reason why we wanting to work in these big companies that we are all wanting to do is because they are strategically working their wanting how to extract services from their employees, or how to spread a good excellent working environment where people would know that there is no ambiguous working or the job roles that are there. Next, you have improvement of relationships at work. Relationships at work can be improved by organizing activities like team lunches, group projects, or happy hours. The organization should create a friendly environment to improve relationships at work. So, improving of relationships at work is very very important process for organizations to understand that when employees are working, they're just not robots, right? They're not coming over here only to work for 9 to 5 job, or for 13 hours, 12 hours, work and go. You need to create that connect with them, and you have to ensure that they are connecting with each other as well, right? And how you do that is by organization realizing, by coming out with n number of relationship activities, organizational activities which requires team lunches, group projects, where people are working together, understanding what your ideas are, respecting each other's ideas, coming up with better plans, brainstorming in every groups. So all these things will help us to create a very happy and beneficial and a friendly environment, and this will definitely help improve relationships. And if you improve relationships, you are able to get better results at work. Good communication. Now, communication is one of the vital roles. I think we have seen that in performance management and performance appraisal. Is only if you're communicating to your employee on what is the job role, or what is the parameter, or what is the result that you're expecting out of that particular job from an employee, you won't be able to get better results. You won't be able to create a very holistic environment at work. So you need to be very honest with your team and make sure that your team is also honest with you, and so that you are able to share that culture in order to have that open communication with each other. Then you have employee well-being. The well-being of the employees should be taken care of. That is in terms of mental well-being and physical well-being. So series of welfare and social security measures are to be taken to create happy and healthy environment. Ways for improving job satisfaction of different roles also concentrate on giving recognition and rewards, offering opportunities for learning, developing the skills and potential, and also the frequent feedback that will help improve our relationships. I think we know that apart from learning how to create a positive environment and provide relationships, good communications, understanding our expectations, and focusing on our long-term goal and empowering each other, empowering the employees. So apart from all these things, what is again very, very important over here is recognition and rewards. I think we all know that we all work for a purpose, right? And the organization also should realize that every employee comes to your organization for a purpose. That is, either they want to be recognized or they want to be rewarded for their good work. So in terms of the organizations, be it large scale or small scale, you should always understand that your superiors, your supervisors should be able to understand your performance and celebrate every achievement that you do, either yearly or monthly or anything. That appreciation bracket should be given to the employees, which will help them to have a better job satisfaction. Offer opportunities for learning. And you know that learning is never an end. There is no end to learning. The more you learn, the better you will be able to, facilitate, or better you will be able to give sufficient knowledge to the others, and sufficient results to your organization. So the organization should not curb the employee in order for not learning. You should give them a lot of parameters, a lot of opportunities for learning, sufficient ways, concepts, and methods, and training agendas, right? Next, you have develop skills. What is develop skills means? The developing skills is training. Give good training that would motivate people to be more productive and innovative. All the customers, contact people are given 6 weeks of training before they ever answer to the first phone call, right? Federal Express. So learning never stops, and testing continues throughout their employment tenure. Every 6 months, employee service people are tested using an online computer system. Pass or fail results are sent to each employee within 24 hours. They receive a personalized prescription on areas that need reviewing, with a list of resources and lessons that will help. Federal Express intensive training and development programs has resulted in higher motivation and lower turnover. Feedback. Frequent feedbacks help improving skills as well as relationships. The organization should also provide informal opportunities for conversation. Next, we come to morale. Morale is purely emotional. It is an attitude of an employee towards his job, his supervisor, and his organization. This may range from very high to very low. It is not a static thing, but it changes depending on working conditions, superiors, fellow workers, pay, and so on. When a particular employee has a favorable attitude towards his work, he's said to have high morale. In the organizational context, we usually talk about group morale as each person has an influence over the other's morale. Employee morale is the overall viewpoint of individuals in the workplace, including emotions, attitudes, outlook, and satisfaction level. It is a result of working condition and attitudes rather than the cause. Now, let's understand with a definition by Edwin B. Flippo. Morale is a mental condition or attitude of individuals and groups which determine their willingness to cooperate. According to Michael J. Judges, defines morale as a state of mind or of a willingness to work, which is in turn affects individuals and organizational objectives. He explains it is detailed by answering the following questions. That is, what is it? It is the attitude of your mind. Where does it reside? It resides in your mind and your attitude, and it brings about as an emotion. Whom does it affect? It definitely affects the interaction, whomever you're interacting with, the organization, customer, community, and your immediate peers. What does it affect? It affects the willingness of work, cooperate in the best interest of the enterprise, and ultimately your output. Let's understand the importance of morale. Organizations consider morale as an important factor as it has influence on thoughts and behaviors of employee. Good morale is evidenced by employee enthusiasm, voluntary conformance with regulations and orders, and willingness to cooperate with others in the accomplishment of an organization's objectives. Poor morale is evidenced by surliness, insubordination, a feeling of discouragement and dislike of the job, company, and associates. High morale in the workplace. So basically, what we learn here is just like in organizational theory, we have X and Y theory that is based on people willingness to work and people who are all the time lazy. So the same thing is here. So there is poor morale and good morale. So poor morale is something which the person is all the time dissatisfied, disliking, discouraged, and he's having all these kind of feelings. But high morale is when you get better result at work, that is better turnover, you come up with better outcome, you come up with increased attention, better productivity. All these enhancement towards work that you're giving is called as good morale. Individual and group morale. Individual morale is a single person's attitude towards the job. Group morale is the climate, the kind of atmosphere that you're trying to create. Let's understand the factors that is creating morale. What are the factors affecting morale is organization. First and the foremost is the organization, the style of the culture that the leader is bringing in, the organization structure itself brings us whether we have good or we will be able to showcase the poor morale. So organization plays a very, very significant role in terms of its structure and strategy. Next is the nature of work. Now, jobs can be routine or specialized. In case of routine jobs, employee often feels very bored and alienated, right? Then it is satisfaction level. Now, if you're very happy with your salary, you're happy with your pay, you're happy with your relationships at work, you're happy with your promotional status, you definitely have a good level of satisfaction. Supervision. Now, if supervision is close and does not allow learning and achieving, then definitely you will have poor morale. Concept of self. The morale of persons who have lots of self-confidence or who enjoy good mental and physical health is generally high. Workers' perception towards reward system. The workers' perception of past rewards and future opportunities for rewards affect their morale to a substantial extent. If the workers regard the rewards as fair and satisfactory, the morale tends to be high. Age, education, and occupation. Like I told you, like we have discussed in the earlier points, that if you're higher educated, you will be definitely satisfied with your job. But if you're lower, you're uneducated for that particular position and you are less educated for that position, you will definitely have poor morale. And again, if you have better relationships with your family and at work, you will definitely be satisfied. So let us understand the science of low and high morale. Now, high morale is what a person who has a passion and who has a feeling of belonging and who does not like the tendency of groupism, and they are able to divide themselves into subgroups. They're having a desire to be and to retain themselves with a positive value. Now, science of low morale is this absenteeism, employees who will never come show up to work on time, or half the time they're sick. Then you tardiness, labor turnover, strikes, sabotage, lack of pride in work, and wastage and spoilage. So all these are the signs of low morale. Measurement of employee morale. Now let's understand, how do we measure the employee morale is through observations through their attitudes and surveys, company records and reports as well. So observation is what you need to keenly observe. Now the manager should immediately think of a remedial action when he starts noticing that the employee is showcasing low morale. The attitude surveys, you need to take two kinds of surveys, that is interview method and questionnaire method. In the interview method, what happens is you are sitting with them face to face. So in that face to face interview, you're able to understand the feelings and the opinion that the person is speaking with. So in this manner, you're able to understand, right? You are able to judge and understand what that person is feeling with their questions. And then you have questionnaire method, is you're keeping it very crisp. You're not having a lot of options and you're not dragging the questions, but you're being very apt in order to understand their opinion, right? Then you have company records and reports. So certain reports are something that provides us to understand the culture of what has been going on in the organization in terms of absenteeism, grievances, rejections, strikes, and all these things which are the indicators of the level of morale. So now the question is, how do we improve our morale? So one of the things that we can improve our morale is promote the feeling of importance. It is not easy to accomplish this, but we need to feel satisfied when you are performing a work which is very important to the organization. Everyone wants to feel that his or her work has a higher purpose, right? So all these job places that I've listed out on, so I think we have now come up with better organizations which has their own stories to tell and which will significantly showcase the value of their work. So you need to understand that where you feel that the importance of being worked, importance of being there. Next is celebrate accomplishments. You should ensure that organizations should encourage and motivate employees and encourage their accomplishments. Grant time off to employees to pursue personal projects. Now, personal projects can provide an energizing break from regular responsibilities and can serve as a source of innovation for a company. Um, at Atlassian, a developer of collaboration software based in Sydney, encourages creativity during its FedEx Day. During this event, all the 62 employees can work on anything that excites them as long as it is somewhat related to Atlassian products or processes can be completed in the allotted time and it is fun. Employees have from 2 p.m. on a Thursday until 4 p.m. Friday, giving them roughly 24 hours to deliver a project. So then at a presentation, participants show off the results of their projects. From these ideas, Atlassian has adopted more than a dozen projects ranging from product upgrades to process improvements. I think with this example, we are able to understand what we need to inculcate as in the organization and what the employees are actually looking out for, making sure that they come up with n number of ideas in order to improve, and which is fetching good benefit to the organization because the organizations want different kinds of ideas through these groups. Next is mix up the company's usual way of doing things, departing from the customary routine of meetings and cubicle life can go a long way towards building morale. The accounting firm Erhard Keefe, Steiner, and Coatman, based in Denver, uses the concept of neighborhoods to shake things up. All 387 employees are organized into neighborhoods based on the floor or sections of floors in each office. Now, these groups have regular get together and shape the contours of meetings. For example, during an all employee meeting day, as the firm staged as neighborhood basketball tournament, each group came up with team names, homemade jerseys, mascots, and cheerleaders. So this is how you mix up the company's usual way of doing things. Next is don't forget to have fun. Now for the online discounter Fat Wall based in Rockton 3, fun is a regular part of the schedule. Its 55 employees are invited to play in a monthly game day, an in-house competition with activities ranging from trivial pursuit to eyeballing matches. The company also offers quarterly fun rewards, and then staffers achieve certain goals, hockey games, casino nights, or play dates at amusement parks. Team building events have included a city scavenger hunt in Chicago and a rooftop cup games. Right. Train employees to develop positive attitudes. So you need to train these employees to have positive attitude through the opportunities that you give them. Offer time away from the office to do some good work, to do some good things. That is building employee morale, and camaraderie is through community services and volunteer in a charitable initiatives. So these are the things that will help us to improve the morale. So with this, we come to the end. And tomorrow, next weekend, we will go to the block 4. So now over these sessions, we have successfully completed 3 blocks. Now we are having the 4th block to be completed next weekend. All right.